Psalm 82, the 14th of May, 2025. But that's not a good idea. Okay, I will not do it. What was that about? Using the quotes in the book. A commentary on Psalm 82:6 says, most of the ancient rabbis understood the idea of gods referring to judges, but some applied verses 6 and 7 to the Israelites at Sinai and maintained that they would have become immortal as a result of accepting the law, if only they had not committed the sin of the golden calf. The psalm itself seems to be the reason why both Jews and Christians think that they are children of God. It was Asaph who said that psalm, not David. It begins saying, God judges among the gods, divine beings. If Asaph is an honest Jew, he might have used a different term in reference to divine beings, over whom God judges. If Asaph were a Jew who followed the law of Moses and God's commandments laid out in it, he would have refrained from using the term for gods. In verse 6, yet he says that he said that himself to the Israelites, wherein he had written his own testimony. I am God, the only God there is no God besides me. Isaiah chapter 45:5. There is no God beside me. Deuteronomy chapter 32:39. Even the commentary on the Psalm 82:6 verse makes it even more ambiguous. People do not become immortal as a result of accepting the law. No one is immortal except God. If anyone would have become immortal by accepting the law, as the commentary says, it could have been Moses and Aaron, because they did not worship the golden calf. Yet they were mortal and they died. Some would say that he died because he disobeyed God. Others would take it further to justify a position such as the one presented in the psalm, only to make it seem like it is feasible. People have been calling themselves that for centuries. It shows that even if you find the root of the cause for the inserted verse, which caused every person who believed it to disbelieve and blaspheme God, you wouldn't be able to solve the issue. They will keep complicating it, audaciously claiming something about God which he does not know to be true. Asaph was a singer and a poet. He was not a priest, nor was he a prophet, nor was he anything but a singer. It is very upsetting that both Jews and Christians consider this a part of Scripture, even if it has caused all of them to become blasphemers and disbelievers. When God says that He is the only one, it means that He is the only one. It doesn't matter what humans say. When people accept the law and believe in the Torah of Moses, it only makes them upright and righteous. It allows them to become believers, to be granted a chance at living eternally with God in heaven. It does not make them immortal, nor would it ever make them divine. The devil claimed to Adam and Eve that by eating from the tree they would become angels, immortal and divine. But here we are, mortal, impure, and sinners. If people are not able to differentiate between Scripture and poetry, between Scripture and blasphemy, then no law would help them. Psalm 82 is blasphemy. It is a reason why Jews and Christians today still think they are children of God for holding on to the Torah, or for becoming followers of Christ. The book of Psalms is a shared book between the two religious traditions, and it seems to feed into teachings shared among them. If such a teaching is found in their books, although no prophet had said it before the time of Asaph, then there is no wonder that anyone after Asaph would be affected. Do people not wonder why Christ was called Son of God by a demon in Luke chapter 4:41 and Matthew chapter 8:29. It is because demons would listen to poetry. They incited poetry and they caused people to sin with their lips, and they are in the trance caused by their singing. Jesus was sent to destroy these false beliefs, to eliminate them from the midst of Jerusalem. He even quoted the verse in Psalm 82 to condemn them. He contested the Bible in John chapter 10:34 and John chapter 10:35. If they hold on to the Bible as it is and refuse to change the blasphemies written in it, then any person would make such a claim about himself. Jesus mocked them in the Gospel of John because they refused to believe in him being the Messiah. It was not a claim that he made about himself. It was him making a joke out of Jews who refused to fix the falsifications they wrote in the Bible. Yet again, even when he said in John chapter 10:36, Son of God, it follows precisely from the same notion. It is to mock those who refuse to change the false attributions to God in their Bibles. Even the term huios, which is used in John 10:36, means the pious worshippers of God rather than son, the servant of God. But those who were adapted to disbelief and blasphemy would lend their ears to demons and say with their lips what the demons tell them in their ears. The demoniacs were saying that about Jesus to cause other Jews to accuse him of some crime and to attack him. Jesus was only the Messiah, a prophet and the messenger of God. But what they had in their Bibles affected how they perceived him, what people called him, and even what demons called him. People who heard the songs of Asaph would be affected by demons and would be possessed because of their false beliefs about God. God does not forgive ascribing him any partner, child, or whatnot. Anyone who does such a thing would be sent devils to tempt them to sin and blaspheme God, knowingly and unknowingly. They wouldn't even have a tight grip on their own awareness. They would say things they don't remember. They become forgetful and continuously transgress and sin against God and would be too proud to admit it or seek forgiveness. A demoniac would be saying anything a demon would say to him, thinking that they would be saying the right thing. Even if a demon said that about Jesus, these things should not be followed nor embedded in Scripture. Psalm 82 caused the people of Israel to sin. It caused God to forsake them, leaving them without a prophet and without a priest. All they had were the group of singers and poets who would continuously inflate the ego of the Israelites, making them believe that they are favored by God, that God would never turn his face away from them. In singing, they would ask God to remember, although God never forgets. In singing, they would ask God to destroy their enemies, even if they themselves were God's enemies for claiming such claims. They would pray and ask him to keep his covenant with them, although they break it and have broken it and continue to break it non-stop. God is not bound by a covenant to anyone so long as that person would not change their attitudes for the better. God would not be bound by a covenant with transgressors and oppressors and blasphemers. If God said it, it is the absolute truth. If humans said it, it is tainted by their desires. Help us, save us, give us the inheritance you promised, deliver us from our enemies, fulfill our covenant. Yet they steal, they kill, they prostitute themselves, and they worship idols. God will fulfill his covenant with you, the double-edged sword you were told you would bring upon yourselves. God destroys his enemies, those who worship idols. God destroys his foes, those who ascribe him children. They had no term to describe God's angels, and they wanted to change their titles themselves. They find no equivalent to the term servants of God, so they chose the term children. When man wants to ascribe himself grandeur and divinity, he would go to such lengths as to deny everything that he was told before. It is not only the tree which caused people to desire divinity. Their children would claim that about themselves, and they have, blatantly and audaciously transgressing God's laws. What help would anyone give except to make it clear to them where they have gone wrong? All their prophets tried, but throwing the Torah behind them, they clung to the poetry of devils. Of course, they would reject to listen to God's words. The devils cannot listen to them without shrieking and crying out of pain. God's words torment devils and the demons and demoniacs who would put their lives at stake to hold on to the blasphemies taught to them by the devils. If poetry is your thing, then only devils would be your friend.